Hi, everybody. So today we're going to look at some ELT materials and the assumptions that the author might have had when they were designing these materials. So we're going to look at 3 examples specifically. The first one is a reading-based lesson. It's a skills lesson, upper intermediate. The level is not important, but we'll see how the different exercises are created with a certain assumption in mind, or at least we think they were created that way. Then we have a grammar focus lesson. This time it's a systems lesson. It's an intermediate level. And then we have a skills, but this time integrated skills lesson, which is for an advanced level. So let's take a look at the first example. Here it is. It's a 1-page lesson. It's about a newspaper article. There are comprehension questions, discussion, and a summary activity at the end. Now, what assumptions might the author or the creator of this exercise or this book might have had when they were creating the exercise or the book in general this way? So let's think about the first one. What is it that strikes you the most? Could be the authentic style. So learners benefit from exposure to authentic input in context. Now, for this, you can read more from Krashen's Input Hypotheses, and there are many different books that also talk about it and support this assumption. Let's take a look at another one. So comprehension questions have been used here. So we can say that reading comprehension improves through scaffolded activities, moving from understanding the main idea to detailed comprehension. So for this, you can read more about top-down processing, but also both top-down and bottom-up processing in general. Then the next one is vocabulary matching. Now, vocabulary is best learned in context and not in isolation. There is a very interesting book called The Lexical Approach by Lewis, where you can read more about this. So this could be an assumption behind why the author thought it would be great to use a vocabulary matching activity. Then we have the last one for this example, which is having the students summarize the article in their own words. So could this be because speaking tasks enhance retention and engagement? So you can read more from the communicative language teaching, but again, this one is supported by all the major theories where speaking is extremely important for learning a language. Now let's go to the second example. Here we are. Remember, this is a systems example, so we've got the past perfect tense. It's a short dialogue, and some words related to form and meaning, they are highlighted. Then there are some exercises, both freer as well as controlled. So the first assumption, depending on the guided discovery box that has been used, so it could be because learners notice and internalize grammar structures better when they see them in context, or just in general, we can just focus this on noticing, and you can read more about this in the noticing hypotheses. So it could be about noticing the gap and noticing the language as well. Then we have the second one. So let's take a look at all of these exercises. So we've got gap filling, sentence reordering, and we've even got a final freer practice, which means there's a mix of controlled and free practice exercise. So we can also call them controlled and less controlled exercises, which means that there is a variety and there is both accuracy and fluency being used here. So this also happens in the PPP model or framework, where the teacher presents, then the students practice, and finally they produce it either in written or spoken form. Let's take a look at the next one. So guided discovery, again here with form and meaning, but this time we'll link it not just to noticing, but to grammar rules themselves. It's a systems lesson. So grammar rules should be discovered rather than explicitly taught. This is what the inductive approaches say, as opposed to a deductive approach. And then we have a personal experience for the students. So students have to write about their personal experience using the structure. In this case, personalization of language aids retention, aids memory. So, of course, this is related to task-based learning, but again, in many, many different approaches, personalization is very important. And now we have the third example. So focusing on debating skills, this is an interactive lesson. So there's an opinion text, then there's some analysis, a matching activity, and there is a role play debate in pairs. Now, the first one here could be the functional language phrases that are used in the matching exercise. It could be because learners acquire functional language more effectively when presented in context. Again, this is related to the lexical approach, but this time instead of vocabulary, we're considering entire functional language chunks. Then we have the analysis of the text. For this particular structure, it could help both comprehension and production based on the genre-based approach or any other approach that is similar to the genre-based approach, where the different lexical, grammatical elements are important, as well as the different elements that make a genre unique are important. In this case, arguments or opinion text, whatever is being analyzed. And then here we have a role play or a debate. So here we can have fluency and critical thinking being built. So that's communicative competence. Again, you can read about it from a single author or many different sources. And finally, here we have the communicative purpose, which is achieved through the functional language. So here, rehearsing the language prepares learners for real-world communication. Again, not just sticking to task-based learning, but it is applicable in many different situations. And that's it. That's how we can analyze the materials and think about the assumptions behind them. Please subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.